Hi everyone, I'm Frankie D. Cruz. Today we are talking about how to create your all-encompassing health plan, because it is not enough to have just a bunch of disparate pieces, okay? Because if they will always be at odds, and if your pieces of health are at odds, you will never get anywhere towards a healthier, happier you. So, let us look at the key elements of any good health plan. There are a few key elements. They are your fitness plan, which is all-encompassing, alright? This has to encompass every single aspect of your physical fitness. The next is your nutrition plan. This has to also go ahead and cover every part of your nutrition, which there is more to it than meets the eye or than you might think. You might think, oh, well, it's just food, just put it in your mouth. Well, no, it's not that simple, clearly, evidently by the gigantic obesity epidemic we have in this country. No, your nutritional plan is extremely important, more so than your fitness plan, because they are 20-80. Your fitness plan is 20%, your nutrition plan is 80%, because I want you to think about it. You eat every single day. You do not work out every single day. And even then, even if you did, you eat far more than you work out. Next is your self-management. Alright, this is about how consistent are you really? How can you go ahead and manage all of these different things into your life? How can you incorporate them, integrate them to be a matter of fact, rather than to just go ahead and be something that you strive for? Because there is a difference. And next is your vision. Your vision is so important. Where do you want to be? And now, speaking of your vision, let us break down the key components of that. Your vision is your true goal. Alright, it is where you absolutely want to be. Because you're somewhere where you are right now, and there's somewhere where you want to be. Well, how clear are you on all aspects of that? Because I'm probably pretty sure you might not be specific enough. Because your goal must be smart. And if it's not smart, then you're not going to go ahead and be able to achieve it, because it's always going to be vague. And vagueness is the enemy of clarity. With clarity, you can go ahead and do so much, and with vagueness, you can't do anything, because you're always going to be thinking, well, am I really hitting my goal or not? But now with that said, I do want you to put limits on what you can achieve. Of course, your goals have to be smart, but they also have to be something that you can strive for, because these little tiny things, then are they really worth striving for? Now, what is a SMART goal? Let's break it down, alright? A SMART goal is specific. What weight do you want to be? What body fat percentage do you want to be? What heartbeat range do you want to be in? All of these things actually matter. You have to measure all of these things. You have to know exactly where you want to be, otherwise you're going to be in the dark. And yes, you do have to go by multiple metrics, because if you only go by one, you're going to miss out on the bigger picture. Speaking of which, is measurable. Where are you right now? How far are you from where you want to be? In all these different metrics, you have to go ahead and take that into consideration. Alright? Because if you don't know where you are right now, and where you want to be in relation to one another, then you're going to have a very weird idea of how you can actually get there. You're going to fall for these get slim quick schemes that promise you, no, you can go ahead and lose 21 pounds in 10 days. Next is attainable. Is it possible for you to be able to attain this? I know, for me, there are certain things I cannot do. I am disabled. I am legally blind. There are certain things that I cannot do, no matter how badly I want to be able to do them. And are you prepared for the commitment it would take to get there? Because look, you might say, well, I want six-pack abs, and I know to have six-pack abs, I have to be 10% body fat. Well, are you really prepared for that? Because guess what? 10% body fat is not easy. It's not easy at all for the majority of people. Are you really prepared to get there? Are you prepared for the financial commitment? Are you prepared for the time commitment? Are you prepared to put in the hard work? Because if you're unsure of one of those aspects, you're going to fail. And then suddenly, everything else is going to fall apart. Relevant. Is it relevant to your life? Now let's say you're still saying I want to have six-pack abs. Well, is it really relevant to your life? Is it relevant that you would need to go ahead and be able to lift 500 pounds in a squat? Would you really ever need to be able to lift 500 pounds in a squat? Now, if you're someone who's in very heavy manual labor, and that would be useful, then yes, of course, you should definitely strive for it. It would make it easier for you and be part of your lifestyle. But if it's not, well then what's the point? Alright, what is the point? Because if you can't integrate it into your life, you're going to have a far harder time of actually achieving it. And the last aspect is time-based. When do you want to buy? Can you measure the amount of time it should actually take you to be able to get there? And the amount of speed. And can you count down the days, the weeks, the months? Because look, we all know a health plan is not something for you to go ahead and get fit in a few weeks. It's going to take months, if not years, to where you want to be. Alright? And you have to take that into consideration. And you have to know that every single day contributes towards that goal. Now, let's talk about your fitness plan, because your fitness plan is incredibly important. And it has a few key aspects to it. First is your cardiorespiratory endurance. Alright? This is your heart. How strong is your heart? How fast can it go ahead and be beating? How long can it sustain that sort of strain and stress? As you might imagine, especially as you get older, this is incredibly important. And it is important for all other aspects of fitness. Alright? So many people put down cardio, and it is wrong, okay? Some people say, oh, no, you should go ahead and only do resistance training. That is an aspect of fitness, but it is extremely reductive to only say, well, no, then just because resistance training is good for your heart, don't do cardio. No, it's foolish. You have to have your cardio endurance. Alright? And next is your muscular endurance. Okay? Because what is the point in being strong if you cannot go ahead and sustain that amount of power and strength? So you want to have your muscular endurance. You have to have both of them. And speaking of which, of course, there is muscular strength. Muscular strength is a foundational element of all people. So you have to have the basic amount of strength to live your daily life at minimum. And next is flexibility. Alright, you got to be able to be flexible, because what's the point of being strong, being able to go ahead and have a nice amount of cardio and go ahead and be able to do all these amazing things if you can't even go ahead and reach your toes? Flexibility, it is vastly overlooked, but it is also incredibly important. You need all four of them. Now, you might not like some of them, and you might not want to put any emphasis on some of them, and that's fine. But so long as you are making that choice willingly, knowing what you're giving up, and knowing what the cons and pros of it are. Now, let's talk about your nutrition plan. Alright, your nutrition plan consists of a few elements. Alright, how do you make a nutrition plan? Well, firstly, you need your food choices. Alright, you need to know what are your foundational foods. What are the foods you can always rely upon in times of need? And next is, how do you plan your meals? How can you construct your meals in a manner in which that will go ahead and give you maximum nutritional value, while also helping you go towards your goals? And next is your portion control. All right, you need to have a way of controlling the portions on your plate. Now, you can do calorie counting, even though it is very inaccurate at times, but it is definitely a method. It has worked for many people. Now, you have to also think, well, it hasn't worked for a lot of people too, so pros and cons. There is another method you can go ahead and use, and that's using your hand. Now, if you like the sounds of that, go ahead, go to my website, frankiedcruz.com. There's a perfect diet guide there, and that will go ahead and tell you everything you need to know about how to create a nutritional plan in detail. Speaking of which, the next aspect is food timing, alright? Because it is not just enough to know how much to eat, what to eat, you have to know when to eat it, alright? Because if you're going to go ahead and constantly just binge eat at night when you don't eat any of that food, well then you're wasting precious calories, you're wasting precious energy, because that is what food is. Food is energy. Now, let us talk about self-management, because self-management is definitely the thing that wraps all of this together. Now, let us be clear, there's no such thing as time management, alright? Because you cannot control some aspects of your life, alright? You have a job, and that gives you a specific amount of hours in the day to do what you please. And you can't go ahead and control time. I wish we could, but we cannot control time itself. So it is about self-management. It is about saying, alright, well, I know I can go ahead and get to the gym at this time and get in my exercise, my cardio, and I know that if I go ahead and I spend this day of the week preparing all of my meals, I can go ahead and meet all of my goals throughout the entire week. But that's what self-management is. It's saying, can you actually go ahead and do this? And can you manage yourself to be able to achieve all these things? You have to know where your time is going, all right? That is the number one thing, is if you want to go ahead and be able to get stuff done, you have to know where all your time is going. Is there anywhere where your time is wasted? And where do you want that time to go? Are you doing things that you know that is taking away from time that you could be using for more important things? It's incredibly important, all right? Because if you can't go ahead and even figure out where you want your time to go, how the heck are you going to go ahead and figure out how you're going to manage all of this stuff for your health plan? Now, if you need some help going ahead and figuring out where all your time is going and how to figure out how you're going to fit everything in, go to my shop, all right? There's a self-management assessment, all right, on my website, frankiedcruz.com. And next is consistency. Consistency is the most important thing, all right? Without consistency, you're not going to get anywhere. And it is the most important thing to making any of this work. I said it in the beginning of this video, and I mean it. Consistency is number one. If you can have consistency, and if you do any of these things even halfway okay, you'll be well ahead of the majority of people. Now, if you like the sounds of all of this, and you're not quite sure how to do any of it yourself, look, I have a bunch of free resources on my website, on all of my social media, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Go ahead, check it out. Go ahead and look at all my free stuff. And if you still want some help, book a discovery call with me, and I will go ahead and happily talk with you and help you figure something out. And we'll see if we're a good fit. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. I'm Frankie D. Cruz, signing off.